night. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM today and next Wednesday. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. All the way from Ocho St. Anne's, Jamaica. So, we are listening to the opening of the thing a while ago, the Tracks and Records. Usain Bolt Tracks and Records in Ocho. Big things are going in Ocho. Yeah, man. I hope it is as successful as the one in Kingston. Because we know the one in Kingston has been doing big things. So we just wish all the success, especially like how we as young people started. We're there with you, know. We have to make the music talk, though. Believe you me. You know, sometimes you have to make the music talk. Yeah, it's not every day you hear them kind of music up on radio in a Jamaica or maybe anywhere else. So we have to make the music talk. And it is obvious what we are doing when we play this music. It's to really reaffirm in ourselves, even the people them who don't want to accept it, who don't want to accept them Africanness and them blackness that is within them consciousness. Whole heap of people still refuse and even try to deny who they are and what they are, because we were taught so much in slavery that we internalize the madness and become the madness. We are so ignorant that we think ignorance is a blissful thing. Most of the time, ignorance leads to stupidity. And African people find themselves in a very ignorant, blissful, euphoric illusion that they are born in sin and shaped in iniquity. We want the African people, them who listen to it, to refuse that, to throw away that out of their mind, out of their consciousness, that we were not born in sin and we were not shaped in iniquity. Because if you was born in sin and then you are shaped in that iniquity, you are of no good, neither to others nor yourself. So we have to mash down them talk there once and for all. African people is beautiful people. Circumstances cause we to be in this position, but it's not going to be forever. Good must overcome evil. And with all the religion and the politics and the economics and the social orders and the culture that we are trapped in this part of the world, yeah. We know. Good must overcome evil. And right now, the people them who is in power is evil. Evil at the highest or lowest level. We must question our authority. Don't be afraid to question our authority. Because if you don't question our authority, you will become part of that evil force that decide our future and allow our future to become grim. Because we were conscious people. When we see evil, we didn't know evil. When we see good, we didn't know good. Now, there's a thin line between love and hate. The Persuaders sing that song years ago. A thin line between love and hate. A thin line between good and evil. And the way the society set up here, so now it make good people do bad things. It make good people do bad things, and we know that bad people do good things. But we not expect good people to do bad things. And it kind of get topsy-turvy, you know, when we recognize what is going on. We want to yell up the sister in them who listen to it. I mean, like, religiously listen to this program here from all over the world. We had the opportunity to meet some of those sisters in Houston, Texas, the other day when we went there. Some sisters that called me on the program, emailed me, and it was really something else to meet them. If you know that they listen and they understand what we're trying to put out there, and they also spread it. We give thanks for that. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. Cutting Edge on RFM. Okay, so we want to bring some things to your attention. One of the things them is a question. Are you eating plastic for dinner? You know, we keep saying this over and over, you know, and you know, it comes like saying that we attack certain things, some people now take us serious. And until certain things happen. And we don't want to say I did tell you so, because that would be very arrogant. But I keep telling the people them in Jamaica, you know, say, you see, if we don't keep dumping the things them in the gully, the plastic, the tampons, the all sorts of thing, anything, the dead dog them, throw them over the gully hedge. You see, when the rain come, it go and wash it to the sea. You see the fisherman, you see the fish them in the sea, them go and eat where them get coming from your gully. When the fisherman them go down there, they are going to catch the fish them and carry it to the market. And you're going to go down to the market and buy the fish. And on Sunday, you're going to cook that fish and put it on your plate. It's the same rubbish where you dump, you're eating back. Because they are now finding out that a lot of the fish them now, because there is so much plastic in the sea, that the fish them start almost digest the plastic them now and make the plastic become a part of them. You are what you eat. Everybody hear that saying all the while. You are what you eat. So if you eat garbage, check your mind. You are dumping your dinner in the gully. Your Sunday dinner is coming back to you. And I know, say, you don't really want to nyam what you throw away. Or if you, I better you just go nyam it then. Because if you go dump it in the sea and you go eat it again in a different form. I mean, all them things the way you dump in the gully, I better you just find some way to cook them. It's a terrible thing. Anybody watch the TV and say the things them go on down. You know, say, me I tell my lady, say, when me was a youth, me used to go a bolo. Those of you who in my age group know bolo. That time it didn't name Foreshore Road. Bolo was a canal where we used to skull school and go catch fish, tiki fish. It was a pleasure for go down there, go catch fish, tiki fish. And tiki fish not live in a dirty water. So you must know that the canal, a clean water, did a flow in that canal. Right on the same road there where you see them at the nasty thing them and the dirty thing them where around there. The canal there. It's a thing. It's a thing where we find, say, the canal on one side was what you call Dongle or Bakawal. But Tivoli, they know it was Bakawal, and then they'd have the slaughterhouse right beside the train station where you go slaughter goat, pig, dog, cow, or anything down there to carry go market. Right at Darling Street, bottomless up. And the canal, even though you did have Dongle where Rastaman who did flee from up Bakawal and all them place, they did end up along a Dongle there. In a where we call Bakawal so. And even though all of them nasty places they there, where the Rastaman used to have to live in them nasty places because how the system set up. And even though the Rastaman did live in the nasty place, him still did talk about peace and love and Africa and educate himself in that Dongle. And right beside him was a canal where you have fresh water with fish are running out the water. Where me as a youth, I don't know nothing about Rasta them days, I don't know nothing about nothing. More than say, me and my friend them left Wesley School, a Rosemary Lane and Middle Lane, Rosemary Lane and Tower Street corner. And as youth, we walk from Rosemary Lane, go down pan Harbour Street, Port Royal Street, and walk straight out of Foreshore Road if you go catch fish. Them days they we just catch a fish them at the back and carry home for nothing at all. I just you, just like how we used to have slingshot. And you used to catch all peony while they put in a buckle to make flashlight. I mean, I say Tracy don't know them things there. Even though Tracy a country girl. But we never see them things there. When rain come, we never used to see them things there. But the more the population grow and the infrastructure stays same way, it's like the dam them did it for 100 years and the infrastructure stays same way. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing I go on. So here we are saying so now, because it's a serious thing. You see where you dash with today in the gully is that you're going to eat tomorrow. Trust me, where you dash with today is where you're going to eat tomorrow. Believe you me. So I don't know always to tell you. I don't know always to tell you. Because we are trying put it in your head, and look, you want to see where I'm going, look where going down there so. You remember a couple of weeks ago we did a report how much condom block up the gully down a Montego Bay, make the water run over upon the thing and flood out the Montego Bay there so. And the same thinking of the people them, where them just throw things in the water, them and say, a whole heap of sex are going on the side of the gully. People just change condom, throw it at the gully, till the people them go down there clear out the gully and them find say, part of the problem was the amount of condom where them finding at the gully. And now we look on this way, go on the TV, so we see plastic bag like, wow. Me I say, who bring up this plastic bag thing? But your man a complain, say, him do him little rituals and thing, and him can't get no cola champagne back again. He have to import them because a pair plastic bag never bring the drinks them in that. Who come up with this plastic bag thing? You know, say, 500 years plastic take for disintegrate in the earth. 500 years, you know. So you see, when you throw a plastic back long, rest assured, you know, when your grandfather, when your grand picnic become grandfather, you know, the plastic back is still there. Can't drink out in the earth. But the reason why we are saying all of them things there is for bring attention to this thing here. We want to play this thing here. We have to play this thing here for the people. Okay. And even though we might not reach it so yet, but watch it.
It is everywhere. We need it. We want it. We even find it in places where we wouldn't expect it. When researchers examined the stomach of a beached sperm whale in 2012, they found 30 square meters of tarpaulin. a 4.5 meter long hose, a 9 meter long plastic rope, and 2 flower pots. How is this possible? On average, a European uses and disposes of more than 100 kilograms of plastic per year. A large part of plastic waste ends up on huge landfills or in the sea. Today, more than 100 million tons of plastic is drifting around the oceans. Due to particular currents in the Pacific Ocean, a new continent has been born. A mass of plastic waste the size of Europe. In some areas of the oceans, there is up to 60 times as much plastic as there is plankton. Because plastic does not rot, it lasts up to 500 years. Through exposure to sun, wind, and water, plastic is broken down into microscopic parts. These plastic particles can absorb high concentrations of agricultural and industrial toxins. Many animals mistake the plastic for plankton and eat their fill. Every year, more than 100,000 turtles, marine mammals and seabirds die a slow and painful death because they starve with a full stomach or because their intestines rupture. Other marine creatures in whose cells plastic and toxins have accumulated end up as seafood on our plates. The smallest form of plastic are microplastics. They are added to cosmetics, shower gels and toothpastes. A tube of toothpaste contains up to 10% microplastics. The sewage plants cannot filter microplastics, so they too end up in the sea. In the making of plastic, hazardous chemicals are used in order to enhance elasticity of fire resistance. Bisphenol A, plasticizers, and flame retardants are contained in almost every plastic product. Through exposure to heat, the wrong detergents, or simply over time, plastic will go brittle, thus releasing these chemicals, which in turn, through the airways, ingestion, or through mere touch, find their way into the human body. The consequences are severe. They include increased risk of cancer, asthma, infertility, and developmental disorders. The plastic industry tries to cover up any scandals and runs a gigantic lobbying campaign in order to prevent stricter laws or inquiries. Plastic factories are veritable fortresses. The plastic production process a tightly kept secret. This is one of the reasons why no one is exactly sure what substances are added to the plastic. Over the course of the last 10 years, only 11 chemical substances could be analyzed out of a total of 100,000 possible additives. But there is hope yet. Intelligent robot nets, or fishing boats converted to floating recycling factories, are intended to cleanse the oceans. Bioplastic made of maize or starch could replace conventional plastic. However, its production consumes valuable food, so it's no solution for satisfying the global demand for plastic. This is why you must radically change your consumption behavior. Pay attention to the packaging of products. Substitute paper or cloth bags for plastic bags. Don't throw away old plastic, but recycle it and use plastic-free products. Are we going to allow the destruction of the earth to continue? If we act now, there may still be hope for future generations, before the miracle material definitely turns on its creator.
Yes, this is the cutting edge. So, we want to play this one now. We say we're not going to play something else. The human price of pollution. And this is about China. Because we have say, hey, you think we're going to use up our fight? All tomorrow we're on it again, you know. All tomorrow we're on the China thing again, you know, because that's a serious thing. I go on in Jamaica, you know. A serious thing. Oh, no, understand where I go on, you know. We are suffer, so. We are suffer. We want money to do this, we want money to do that at any cost. Just like the government has said. Development at any cost. Because them want, make sure, say, through them to tell you, say, them want, them are going to do this and make the money go this and eat your, what them call them? IMF. Them put certain argument in IMF and them are going to do this with IMF. Them want to make sure, say, them fulfill them like a monetary thing there now. Monetary responsibility. And forget, say, you could have money a little more if you don't have no Jamaica. You don't have, I mean, it don't make no sense. if the air is not clean and the water is not clean, trust me, it don't make sense with your money. It don't make sense with your money. Clean water, clean air is something where all human beings, all animals and all plants, including the plant them. Because if the plant don't feed you oxygen, you're going to go dead with the carbon dioxide we have in there. If you don't feed it, the plant them with carbon dioxide. Anyway, we're going to play this thing here. We're going to play it.
All industrial nations one day hit an environmental turning point, an event that dramatizes to the population the ecological and human consequences of growth. For China, whose environmental crises seem to arise on a scale as sweeping and epic as the vast nation itself, this began in 2013. Pervasive air and water pollution, mismanagement of industrial waste, desertification, loss of biodiversity, and unpredicted demographic changes altogether drove into the media spotlight the very real costs of China's unchecked development. The World Bank estimated the cost of China's pollution at $100 billion per year, and The Economist labeled its environmental failures a unique, potentially disastrous global threat. Both domestically and internationally, an awareness of the situation and its consequences began to spread.
China suffers from both local problems and global environmental challenges. So the combined impacts of climate change and local pollutions are causing enormous consequences. A lot of the environmental problems in China are very closely linked to our energy consumption, because there's something fundamentally wrong with the economic model. That's why the more the economy grows, the more the environment start to get worse.
在这个地区，我们地表的这些水源、这些河流基本上就干涸了，不是干涸了，就是流淌的就是污水。那么叫做有河这个皆干，有水皆污，污染呢导致的结果就是我们的有限的这些资源又遭到了损害。它和缺水之间是一个非常恶性的互动。也就是说，因为缺水，河里没水，所以排出去的污水都没有办法去稀释、去自净，所以污染就更重。那么这些污染排放下去以后，有限的清水资源也被破坏。
January 2014 saw a fetid smog trap Beijing under pollutants from the region's 200 coal-fired power plants, where concentration levels hit 40 times what the World Health Organization deems safe. Recent reports finally classed the pollutants, notably the PM2.5 small air particle, as carcinogens, claiming that every year up to 500,000 people die in China as a result. Common medical consequences include respiratory diseases, lung and bladder cancer, strokes, and worsened learning skills.
大概一针。之前他要死了，晚上突然他受不了了嘛，他就让我说妈妈，我受不了了，你不要哭，就算他真不行了，还有他弟弟凭他爸爸，我一定要坚强。
Xingtai, a small industrial town in Hebei province, south of Beijing, was named China's most polluted city of 2013. It is one of the many rural settlements where Chinese officials have been attempting to relocate Beijing-based industries following the city's 2008 Olympic cleanup efforts. Breathing air there is now likened to living in an airport smoking lounge.
这个庄稼你地污染了，空气也污染，我们车也有。这个好多人这个人痰，就是说这个人脑梗、血脂稠、心跳、糖尿病这种病很多发生。我老婆才做的手术，就是肠子黑了，检查出一个来，是一个这肠癌，死了已经，等死的了。对，这就等死，真的违抗把以后污染的，还这个转周围这肠污染的，谁管你？我们污染款都得不到。
Further south along the coast in Zhejiang province, the city of Ningbo is notorious for its textile factories and wastewater negligence. Settlements are dotted throughout the region where wastewater is dumped into local supply rivers and in turn serves crops, animals and families. The cancer villages, so named for their exponentially high disease and death tolls, have traditionally been kept under the radar by national media, corrupt local officials and corporate forces. Individual victims here paid the ultimate price for expedient economic growth, and only in February 2013 did the Chinese government acknowledge their existence.
政府的话说是想换口就得不行，我就打电话问说换口就去看，我说我们的人嘛已经被占了，必须我们的尸体拿上去，他们就比他们不改进。他总在电话里告诉我说是，我想给弄视频，想给你们总是，我们些老百姓呢总是好不到这个，我老是总是这个样子。
不是，搁请个是个，你这国家他妈都让你知道，他那是个麻烦。人家的肉吃的差的端的，一好话给我是个麻烦。我只要你们上去就是，以后那出那些他妈一直一吐那这那，从真的存下来要早安个孩子，现在意思了吗？
很多人，任何人都希望媒体来报道，来表现他们的困境。但是媒体是不乐意来报道这样的事情，因为太多，一般被污染的这样的人难打赢官司。政府和企业家，政府的官员和企业家一般是好朋友。
难道我们连正常的话都不能说？我们作为一个公民的最起码权利，他们连说话权都没有。有苦不能说，有苦不能诉。应该这是我们应该实施的责任，是我们应该行使的责任，任何人都不能干涉我们，不管哪个部门，特别是你们这些政府的派出人员，我们又没打架，又没吵架，又没闹事，你们一直派这些人来干什么的？我们给他打个话，是对我们侧面施加压力，你说明这些还要继续再受污染。
Yes, this is the cutting edge, and I FM bringing it to you raw, and I dilute it. A serious thing. And we don't stop this, you know. We not stop this, so. And you think so we are stop about it tonight? We are go about on it again tomorrow too, because we see we are going, you know. And we see we're going down at Marcus Garvey, and we see we are going right across the country. We see the flooding we are take part on a Rhone River. Yeah? I mean, because of so-called development, and we see them go bring. Well, watch out, man. Me can't even go through when we go talk about tomorrow. So we just talk about what we are dealing with that. So no. Well, why you listen to this again? You know, listen to this. Just listen to this, because there's some serious thing I go on. I would need to make the people them know.
Welcome to Top 10 Archive. Between greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide emissions, we've done quite the number on our wondrous planet. And while we've all had a hand in polluting our own world, there are certain countries that play a bigger part than others. To educate, inform, and maybe terrify our readers, we're pointing fingers at the 10 countries with the highest pollution emission. Number 10, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia makes up a measly 1.3% of the world's overall CO2 emissions. But it's a surprising number, considering the comparatively smaller population of just under 29 million. As with most countries, the burning of fossil fuels adds a great deal of pollution in the form of CO2, but there's more to Saudi Arabia's environmental pollution than that. The country's production of over 50 million tons of cement in 2013, a drastic jump from 26 million tons in 2005, as well as being one of the world's largest petroleum producers, has played a significant part in Saudi Arabia's role in world pollution emissions. Number 9, Indonesia. With a population nearing 250 million people, a heavy intake of electronic waste, and the routine burning of crops for the production of pulp, palm oil, and paper, Indonesia has quite the hand in the world's emission of pollutants. In regards to CO2 pollution alone, Indonesia accounts for 1.4% of total emissions at 510,000 kilotons emitted on an annual average. Things are so bad in Indonesia that it is known for being home of two of the world's most polluted areas, Kalimantan and Citarum River Basin. The persistence and hazard of the polluted haze from the frequent fires has even forced schools to close and infants to be evacuated from Indonesian cities. Number 8, Canada. Everybody loves Canada, right? Well, maybe not Mother Nature, so long as the country continues on its path of environmental destruction. Like Saudi Arabia, Canada's hand in CO2 emissions may seem small at 1.5% of the world's total, but the 550,000 kilotons is an emission per capita of 15.7%, considering the 35 million people it houses. According to Canada's own environmental conscience website, Environment Canada, major factors in the country's pollution output include an increase in localized industry and seemingly harmless things like road salt and chemicals used in dry cleaning clothing. In regards to prevention, Canada's National Pollutant Release Inventory offers a range of resources to avert further damage to the environment. Number 7, South Korea. Producing almost 2% of the world's CO2 emissions, South Korea definitely has environmental issues of its own it needs to square away. A portion of South Korea's overall air pollution does come from China in the form of arsenic-carrying dust, but that's not to say it's innocent. Coal-firing plants in the country are a major cause to the elevated carbon dioxide levels and creation of the lung-damaging ultrafine dust. In Seoul specifically, residents are advised to have protective masks on hand should a desert dust blow in and react with nitrogen and sulfur oxides emitted from power plants to form ultrafine dust. Number 6, Germany. It may be hard to refrain from making a Volkswagen joke about now, but truth be told, Germany's pollution problems stem a bit beyond car manufacturing, though it should be said that elevated diesel pollution has been observed, which has played a role in the country's 3% contribution to the world's pollution problem. One city in particular, Stuttgart, experiences spikes in nitrogen dioxide pollution that brings the annual level to over double what's considered an acceptable threshold. As with much of the rest of the world, Germany's CO2 contribution stems from fossil fuel consumption and waste emission, though the country has been seeing slight drops in CO2 levels, with a 4.3% drop of the country's total pollutants from 2013 to 2014. Number 5, Japan. The air quality in Japan has certainly taken some big hits throughout history, from Hiroshima to Fukushima, but a portion of the country's problem with pollutants comes from its own practices. Though Japan has some of the strictest regulations when it comes to sulfur dioxide and nitrogen emissions, the country houses 70% of the world's waste incinerators. With the incineration of waste, dioxins are emitted into the air, increasing the risks of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. An additional source that attributes to urban pollution includes Japan's use of nuclear energy, though the emission of greenhouse gases are generally smaller than common practices like coal burning. Despite the use of nuclear energy, Japan still accounts for 4% of the world's CO2 emissions. Number 4, Russia. 5% of the world's CO2 emissions comes from Russia, And when you get down to the nitty-gritty of how the government once viewed pollution, it's a surprise that level isn't much higher. At one time, Russian government officials believed that concern and regulation over pollutants were not worth considering if it meant a slowdown of economic advancement. By the 1990s, approximately 40% of Russian territory felt the effects of this mindset and was under moderately high environmental stress. Russia still faces inefficient energy usage and emission from fossil fuel use, though the Ministry of Fuels and Energy reports that carbon emission can be cut by 25% through upgraded equipment. Number 3, India. Approximately 6% of the world's CO2 emissions comes from India, but it also has one of the lowest emission per capita numbers due to its larger population of over 1.2 billion people. Regardless, the country faces an ecological crisis due to the burning of fossil fuels, more specifically diesel from vehicles and factories. It's a small role in the big picture, but Hindu cremation practices are also a hindrance to the environment, as the public burning of a deceased person releases carbon dioxide and mercury. Families also utilize cow manure and other agricultural waste as cooking fuel, meaning each household practicing these methods are contributing to the country's overall pollution. Number 2, United States. Making up about 15% of the world's total CO2 emissions, the United States produces over an approximate 5 million kilotons of CO2 a year. In 2014, the American Lung Association reported that around half of the United States' 300-plus million population was living in areas of dangerously high air pollution levels. Beyond just CO2 emissions, warmer temperatures are causing an increase in ozone levels in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and Las Vegas. What's causing the increase in air pollution in the states? Everything from overuse of fossil fuels to oil spills to pesticides have all played a part in crippling the country's environment. Number 1, China. China being at number 1 is probably not a huge surprise, but it's still shocking to know that nearly 30% of the entirety of the world's CO2 emissions, or twice that of the United States, comes from this country. With a population of over 1.3 billion people and cities almost completely covered in a hazardous smog, China is constantly facing an environmental crisis, so much so that it's believed that only 1% of the country's city population is breathing air considered safe by European Union standards. A reliance on coal burning for heat, an increase in industrial plant usage, and unfortunate weather patterns that don't allow for the escape of pollution have made parts of the country dangerous to live in. Were you surprised to see a certain country on this list? Do you have an idea for a future Top 10 video? Let us know in the comments section below. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and our website, top10archive.net. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with all of your family and friends.
Number 1, China. You hear the man say? Only 1% of the population good and healthy. It will come on to carbon dioxide emission. Hey, a coal cause that, you know. I want the people to understand why we are doing this, you know. I want the people to understand why we're playing these things. Because them have way in a thing where immediate gratification where them don't make you think ahead on the consequences of your immediate gratification, what can happen down the line. And them don't make you think about what came before. It's a weird thing. We don't have no serious examination about the past, and we don't have no serious understanding about what can happen in the future. And that is what slavery is all about, you know. Slavery is where them wipe away your past and don't make it have no future more than the future where them make you want, where them want you have. Slavery wipe away the past and create a future for you down the line. Now, if we have information, because information is the greatest inspiration. If we have information, we will be best able to make calculated, you know. We now really see that these people plan ahead. Them plan ahead because them understand where them are come from, and them don't want what happen back of them happen in front of them. So meanwhile, them are draw themselves from certain things that will cause detriment to them. Them want to impose it now upon the ignorant. And that is what we see we are going. That because you so gravelicious and so licky and feel that no, we have to work with now, not the future, no, we have to work with. We now think down the line that even though people are talking about the youths are our future, most of them people we are talking about youth are a lie. Them not believe that. Them not believe that. Because some of them don't tell you the world soon end. As the first thing, some of them old people are telling you about the world soon end. From them are picking the world soon end. All them grandmother and great grandmother did say the world soon end. And the world soon end, I see people have built up this. You see people that make this, I see people that talk about world soon end. So the guy around there so I trick you by I tell you about the world soon end. Meanwhile, he might have millions I set up for sending picnic go to university or Miami and sending picnic go to Boston at university for go get PhD and MA and all these things. And then the next guy around there so I collect money again, knowing say boy right now you don't really have it, but you don't want to go to hell. You don't want to go to hell, so you have to go give them some money. But the money that's to help them picnic for go to school and for drive car while you walk to church. And build up big building. But look how China they know. One of the fastest developed country on earth. Yet still, the majority of them population is sick. From what? From the same development where they might try to develop. What is the purpose of development? Development is supposed to make human being more healthy, wealthy, and wise. If you sit with nature and understand nature, that them as human beings can become divine. We keep repeating the same thing, but we have to repeat it. It's only in man's humanity I'm going to find divinity. There's no divinity outside of the human consciousness. A man have to find that divinity in himself. And you can't find divinity in yourself through metal and steel and plastic. We have said, we understand development, we understand the process of development and what development should be. But at the expense of what? What is the expense of development? When we say development, you should be more comfortable. You should be less sick. That is development, you know. Develop don't mean say you're sick, but you can afford to go to a doctor. That is not development. Development must be preventative. You're preventing something than to trying to cure something. And when we see in a so-called first world countries, ironically, you know, the man no mention no country in Africa up to now. Yet still when you look at South Africa, you know, as one of the countries them where is nearer to the Western way because of the history of European invasion and apartheid. You see, them have a problem. But you have certain part of Africa, diabetes and them things that is not known. When you say diabetes, them ask, what that? And now you see young people, young people, we should have buried them grandmother and have buried them mother, are dead from disease where them grandmother should have dead from. Young people, me talk about all teenager. Teenagers start to have cancer. And we hate to use this as an example, but we're going to use it. With general manager, Chad. We come at RFM from Chad as 6-year-old. 6. Or maybe 5. Me come here from him at 5. And him dead in his 20s. From cancer. 20-year-old. Diabetes. When me say, when me a teenager, a people over 50 have them something there. People over 50 have them something there. You know, I expect say a grandmother I go bury them grandpick me. And the more them introduce things that is anti-nature, is the more the sickness come away. And them are train young people to continue the process of polluting the planet by educating them in a way that is anti-nature. And if you're anti-nature, you could have ball out on God little more. It never help you. Because how can you say you love God that you cannot see? Yet you can't love where you can see. How you know that what you can see is not a manifestation of what you can't see? Because truly, what you see is what you get. So, if you now preserve life in the nature, then we could have built tall building little more, and a mine backside little more, and have millions of dollars little more. If the people not in tune, in line with the earth, with the air, with the water, and with the sunlight. And we in this part of the world, we're near to the equator, we are blessed with the sunlight, raw. We should be rejoicing and worshiping the sun like our ancestors were doing in those times in Kemet. But we refuse. So now we are look up in the sky. When our ancestors look in the sky, is the sun them was looking at. It's not no man where in the sky I come down. When our ancestors sought to meditate and pray and look up in the sky, them never did think that the sun will come down, come help them, because the sun is already on the earth. The sun never left the earth because the sun is the center and the life giver of earth. So you have to see the sun. You have to understand that the sun is the life force, the giver of life and energy upon earth. So if you want to block out the sun with your pollution, and if you want to dirty up the water with your pollution, and if you want to make the air that is necessary for human being to live in accordance with how human beings supposed to live, then you're going to have to pay the consequence to try to manipulate nature in a way that nature cannot flow. You think you can stop water from flow? Water run and you stop it over there, so it find another way to move. The power of water is one of them energy there where human beings try control and manipulate. Them say 30 years out. I want people them just told me I say, when I say it because, we just have say things, Them say, no me say, Them say, in the next 30 years, China might not have any water. You hear what I say? According to statistics, them say, in the next 30 years, China might not have any water. No, I don't know what people here mention. Me's a movie buff, Me watch movie from now till then. You have a movie named Mad Max. They make a Mad Max 2 the other day. What do you think the Mad Max movie was all about? The Mad Max movie was all about water and the struggle to get water and the survival of human beings in them environment to wage war against other human beings who them feel have more water than them, that them can get water to survive. Water. Last week, I think it's last week, we tell you about this story about Solomon and Sheba, where Solomon used water to seduce the queen of Sheba. Solomon, in the Bible, in the Ethiopian history book, use water to seduce a woman to go and have sex with her. What is more precious than water under the sun? And now we are pollute this life-giving property. The majority of our body is made up of liquid. The majority of the earth is liquid. And we are make things. We come from the earth that will destroy human beings, because it's not going to destroy the earth. You think plastic can destroy the earth? Plastic not destroy the earth. Carbon dioxide not going to destroy the earth. It's going to destroy the means by which human being is able to live on the planet. That is what will happen. So all these plastic bottles and all these, this and that, where you say, let's say, a man has said the earth, the planet going to be destroyed. The planet will not be destroyed. It is going to be miserable for human beings to live on it because of what human beings do to Mother Earth and Mother Nature. And Mother Nature have a way to pluck out people and destroy countries and destroy land when it say it now get its own way. So if there's any God, it must be nature. It's not no little man sit up in the sky and wait upon me to come do something wrong, to come tell me, say, boy, right now I'm going to burn up in a spit. If there's any God, it have to come through eat. In a Germany, in America. So, we don't know if, we don't know, would I like get to go in a parliament and play all them tape for these politicians, Yeah. Would I like get them, because I don't know if them know, because them is as ignorant as the people them when it come on to these things, Sometimes we feel say it's only the people them ignorant to certain knowledge. But the politician them also is ignorant. The preacher worse. The preacher worse, because I pray about him, I preach things about what him never experienced yet. And him I tell people things where them supposed to do, where him can't live up to. But it's that nice to go in a parliament, go play that tape here, play them little clip here for the people them. Because Eyes on Tomorrow. We're going to play this tune now, Miriam Makeba. A long time we don't play that tune now. We're going to play this tune now. This is the cutting edge on RFM. It's serious kora music. The kora is one of them instruments from Africa we never come across. the Atlantic Ocean. The Gambian, they master it. Chorus, strings. Most amazing thing I ever see, man, is when I go Gambia and see a band of musicians, of about 40 musicians, and all of them are play kora. No other instrument in the band, pure kora. Sweet, sweet, sweet music. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. So, you know, go back on this. This pollution thing, this coal thing, this China thing. But we want to switch the subject. There's a sister named Crystal Dennis. She won the Brian Henry Foundation Marcus Garvey Scholarship 2016. She was rewarded scholarship at RFM Annual Tribute to Marcus Garvey on the 21st of August. She had 9 passes in CAP subjects. And she used to go to Taki High School and St. Mary High School. Now, she actually read the paper that she the $1 million scholarship with, and the Running African Forum Cabos program. We think that it was such a delight to hear a little girl dig so deep to come out with that and deserving $1 million scholarship. By the way, we still look for the second prize winner for the poetry, the Marcus Garvey poetry thing. We still look for the winner. We got the first prize winner. We never get the second prize winner. I mean, we have the poem, but we still a search. But I may tell you, the amount of time Tracy called that the number there. Anyway, the sister was so eloquent in our presentation that we would make the night listeners hear what she did and why she won $1 million scholarship. It's very important. The Brian Henry Foundation Marcus Garvey Scholarship was won by Crystal Dennis. And we want to present to you the reason why the sister win it. This is the Cutting Edge.
Close their eyes and picture the sound of sirens. It's Thursday, July 7th, 2016. But this 7 is nobody's lucky number. In fact, the people standing on the street are all crying foul. And as police sirens are heard in the distance, they will tell you that those men in those cars are not welcome here. Because for them, they represent one of the many powerful, hostile external forces that have oppressed black people for centuries. These oppressors have caused them to mourn time and again. Today, forced to mourn for Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. But they also mourn for their other black sons and daughters. They mourn that they may never have a chance to grab a hold of their dreams before the enemy comes a knocking, or in this case, a shooting. But while they mourn, they continue to chant, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and above all, Black Power. The phenomenon of black power is nothing new. Black power, along with the idea that black is indeed beautiful, dignified, and that one can without a doubt be unapologetically black, can to a large extent be credited to Marcus Garvey's doctrine of black empowerment. One cannot claim, though, that he built black power, but by showcasing, as it were, the prospect of a future Negro empire, he elicited a vision and inspired the next generation of Negroes to execute it. The did not become popular until in the 1960s through one of its major proponents, another great black nationalist, Stokely Carmichael, or as he is more widely known, Kwame Ture. In 1966, Ture used the phrase Black Power at a rally in Mississippi, and it caught the nation's attention. Even though Kwame Ture came on the scene nearly 50 years after Garvey, speeches from the two men show no doubt where Ture's views originated. There is no standard definition for black power. One may say it is a psychological struggle for the right of all black citizens to define and organize themselves as they see fit. Another may argue that it speaks to the future possibility of a physical struggle between white and black, or rather the oppressor and the oppressed, where black will overcome. One could simply say that black power is about black people taking control of their own lives. It is refusing to white supremacists to make the rules that govern their existence, but instead creating their own rules and taking charge of their own destinies. The principle of black empowerment was one of the driving forces behind the civil rights movement in the U.S. during that tumultuous period. During that period, Garvey had sought to glorify all things black and had called on blacks to join in a Back to Africa movement, as he strongly believed that integrating into the white man's world would never actually work out in their favor. This, as Obati Shaka would in fact point out, was just another means to create division in black communities. This Back to Africa movement was a call by Garvey for individuals of African ancestry to take their place on that continent, as he believed it was where they rightfully should develop their own culture and civilization. It was a call too for them to learn about their past and how it is that they had arrived at their present situation, contending that a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Hearing philosophies such as this, one must therefore seek to find out who Marcus Garvey was and how, living his early life in the little island of Jamaica, he managed to take such big steps, so much so that even 76 years after his passing, he still inspires countless individuals in all corners of the world. Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr. was born as the youngest of 11 children in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica, to Marcus Mosiah Garvey Sr., a mason, and Sarah Jane Richards, a domestic worker, on August 17, 1887. Only his sister Indiana, along with Marcus, survived adulthood. Garvey's father had a large library, and it was from his father that Marcus gained his love for reading. From his reading, he gained a wealth of knowledge. This is perhaps why he told us, liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. Marcus also attended elementary schools in St. Anne's Bay during his youth, in a time where blacks were the minority. While attending these schools, Garvey first began to experience racism. His schooling did not last for long though, as at the age of 14 he had to drop out of school to help support his family. He got a job in Kingston at a printing press. Here he learned many journalistic skills. By 1907, he was organizing public meetings in favor of his fellow workers. That year, he took part in an unsuccessful printers' strike, and the experience ignited in him a zeal for political activism. In 1910, Garvey left Jamaica and began traveling throughout Central America. His first stop was in Costa Rica, where he had a maternal uncle. He lived in Costa Rica for several months and worked as a timekeeper on a banana plantation. He began work as editor for a daily newspaper called La Nacional in 1911. Later that year, he moved to Panama, where he edited a bi-weekly newspaper before returning to Jamaica in 1912. Over time, Marcus Garvey became influenced by many civil rights activists of his era. After years of working in the Caribbean, Garvey left Jamaica to live in London from 1912 to 1914, where he attended Birkbeck College, taking classes in law and philosophy. He also worked for the African Times and Orient Review, which was the first political British journal produced for and by black people. Through his many travels, Garvey learned about the conditions of blacks in various places, and decided that he would try to free his race and to also show fellow blacks that they could be proud of who they were. So on his return to Jamaica in 1914, he decided to do just this by forming the UNIA. The UNIA was the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities Imperial League. Garvey said he believed this name would embrace the purpose of all black humanity. In Jamaica, however, Garvey did not get the requisite support. He was not dispirited by this and instead sought support for the movement in the United States. After corresponding with Booker T. Washington, head of the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama and a national African American leader in the U.S., with the hope of meeting with him, Garvey traveled by ship to the U.S., arriving on March 23, 1916. He intended to make a lecture tour and to raise funds to establish a school in Jamaica modeled after Washington's Institute. Unfortunately, by the time Garvey visited Tuskegee, Washington had died. He still managed, though, to visit with a number of black leaders. The following year, Garvey and 13 others formed the first UNIA. They began advancing ideas to promote social, political, and economic freedom for black people. Garvey worked to develop a program to improve the conditions of ethnic Africans at home and abroad under UNIA backing. On August 17, 1918, he began publishing The Negro World, a widely distributed paper in New York. He used Negro World as a platform for his views to encourage expansion of the UNIA. His motto was, "One God, one aim, one destiny." By August 1920, the membership of the organization was claimed to be 4 million. That month, the International Convention of the UNIA was held, with delegates from all over the world attending. Over the next couple of years, Garvey's movement was able to attract an enormous number of followers. History will show that Marcus Garvey built one of the largest, if not the largest, black organization. Indeed, when one looks at the UNIA, one can clearly see where it was one of the greatest Pan-African movements of all time. This concept of Pan-Africanism may be described as a worldwide intellectual movement that aims to encourage and strengthen harmonious ties between all persons of African descent. The movement extends beyond continental Africans and has considerable support base amongst the African diaspora in the Caribbean and the USA. It is based on the belief that unity is vital to economic, social, and political advancement and aims to unify and uplift individuals of African descent. The foundation of Pan-Africanism is that all African peoples share not merely a common history, but a common destiny. So in that sense, Marcus Garvey, founder of the UNIA, pioneer of the Back to Africa movement, can certainly be considered an extremely influential Pan-African. Garvey also formed the Black Star Line Steamship Company to transport black people back to Africa. Stock was sold for this company to any black person who wanted to travel to Africa. The Yarmouth, the first ship purchased, was ready for its maiden voyage in November 1919. This venture was not without numerous challenges. Still, Garvey managed to secure 3 additional ships. In January of 1922, Garvey was arrested on mail fraud charges by the FBI. This was a way for J. Edgar Hoover to try to end Garvey's movement. Garvey appealed, but his appeals never materialized. Instead, he was deported in 1927. On his return to Jamaica, he was greeted enthusiastically, which motivated him to continue his movement to join blacks across the world and spread his ideas regarding to take control of their own lives. When speaking about women, Garvey once claimed, "No real man can do without her." It is no doubt then that Garvey did not choose to avoid to live with a presence he could not do without, albeit not once, but twice. At the age of 32 in 1919, Garvey married his first wife, Amy Ashwood. Amy Ashwood Garvey was a very active Pan-Africanist, social worker, and activist for women's rights. In an assassination attempt against him, she managed to come to his rescue by quickly getting medical help. For various reasons, they divorced in 1922, but each continued to do their separate work to better assist the marginalized groups that they both represented. These people understood that despite personal issues, the fight must continue so that the positive transformations could be achieved in the lives of these. In 1922, Garvey married again to Amy Jacks, who was working as his Secretary General. Amy played a very important role in his career, and at various points played significant roles in the UNIA. One must not be caught in the trap of thinking, however, that Amy's authority was derived from her status as the wife of such an influential man. She was in fact a leading Pan-Africanist and black nationalist in her own right. She participated directly in the struggle to achieve the organization's goal of liberty for African people around the world, based on the doctrines of Pan-Africanism. After Marcus died, she became one of the key political leaders, archivists, and interpreters of the Garvey movement. She taught many persons about his ideologies and was instrumental in the publication of the highly acclaimed text, The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. In the compilation of this book, Garvey succeeded in revealing the true outlook of one of the greatest black leaders of the 20th century. As a result of employing Marcus Garvey's actual letters, speeches, and writings, readers are granted the privilege of seeing his own words on the page instead of yet another author's interpretation, which is what his story has seemingly always done. Amy and Marcus had two sons together, Marcus Messiah Garvey III, who was born on September 17, 1930, and Julius Winston, who was born on that same day 3 years later. While Garvey was forced to return to his homeland, his activism did not stop there. A few months after his return, Garvey decided to travel again, this time to Geneva, to present the Petition of the Negro Race. This petition outlined the worldwide abuse of Africans to the League of Nations, which was an organization aimed at promoting international preserving global peace. The following year, Garvey founded the People's Political Party, Jamaica's first modern political party, and the first to openly defend the interests of the black majority. The party focused on workers' rights, education, and aid to the poor. Its manifesto called for, among other things, official representation in the parliament, a minimum wage, a Jamaican university, and judicial reform. In April 1931, Garvey launched the Edelweiss Amusement Company in an effort to help artists earn their livelihood from their skill. Garvey was a man who strongly believed that blacks the world over should be self-reliant, and at one point had publicly stated his hope for black people that it was for them to live today as to realize that they are masters of their own destiny, who must strike out with confidence and faith in self and reach for anything they desire. Jamaican entertainers including Bim and Bam and Ranny Williams went on to become popular after receiving primary exposure that the company gave them. In 1935, Garvey again left Jamaica. This time, though, he was headed for London in an attempt to reconstruct the international influence of the UNIA, which over the years had somehow waned. During these years, Garvey remained active, even continuing to speak extensively, and he also kept in touch with events in war-torn Ethiopia and events in the West Indies. The following year, he left London for Toronto for 5 days of speeches and appearances, also in representation of the UNIA. He was able to build a base there to the extent that in 1938, he was able to set up the School of African Philosophy to train UNIA leaders. Garvey had a stroke in January 1940, which left him partially. 4 months after that, he had a second stroke after reading an erroneous and off-putting obituary of himself in the Chicago Defender, which stated in part that Garvey died broke, alone, and unpopular. Garvey died in London on the 10th of June 1940 at the age of 52 as a result of having suffered these 2 strokes. Due to travel restrictions during World War II, his body was interred at St. Mary's Catholic Cemetery in London. 2 decades later, his body was removed from there and taken to Jamaica, where the government proclaimed him Jamaica's first national hero and reinterred him at a shrine in the National Heroes Park. Garvey's legacy has been manifest in the lives of many other black leaders around the world. It can be seen where he inspired nearly every major African or American black movement of the 20th century on political figures there. These included Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah, Kenya's Jomo Kenyatta, Nigeria's Nnamdi Azikiwe, Congo's Lumumba, and South Africa's Nelson Mandela. Within the US, Garvey managed to influence greats like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Kwame Ture. The work of these Garvey disciples speaks for itself, but one must go in depth to see exactly what Garvey did for the black nation. Garvey paved the way for blacks to visualize the possibility of a world no longer dominated by white power, a world where black power was the norm. Garvey encouraged them to be ambitious in their doings, making it clear to them that ambition is not something to be feared, as it lights up the life of the individual and makes him see himself in another state. Through the formation of the UNIA and its many partners, and through businesses and gatherings all over the Americas, Garvey enlightened Negroes to the political, economic, military, religious, and social possibilities of black power. Whites like J. Edgar Hoover felt very threatened by Garvey's ideologies and craftily tried to discredit him so as to put an end to his influential reign. But this was not to be. The minds of Negroes all across the world were already saturated with dreams of a Negro empire. As Garvey rightly puts it, the world ought to know that it could not keep 400 million Negroes down forever. There is always a turning point in the destiny of every race, every nation, of all peoples, and we have come now to the turning point of the Negro, where we have changed from the weakling and transformed into full-grown men, demanding our portion as men. Garvey's legacy may be described under three main headings. These are his ideologies, his exemplification of nation building, and his major projects. Garvey had a number of ideologies, a great number of which are stated in the text, The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. One thing Garvey spoke about in detail was the need for the race to have power in all spheres of society, as this was an aspect of nation building. Garvey said, "Power is the only argument that satisfies man. Except the individual, the race, or the nation has power that is exclusive. It means that that individual, race, or nation will be bound by the will of the other who possesses this great qualification. It is advisable for the Negro to get power in education, science, industry, politics, and higher government. That kind of power that will stand out so that other races and nations can see, and if they will not see, then feel." Garvey also spoke about equity and the need for blacks to have certain qualities, which would make them into a great race. Garvey asserted that God Almighty created all men equal, whether they be white, yellow, or black. And for any race to admit that it cannot do what others have done is to hurl an insult at the Almighty who created all races equal. All of us were created lords of the creation. And whether we be white, yellow, brown, or black, nature intended a place for each and every one. Surely Africa is for the black man. 400 million Negroes shall shed, if needs be, the blood for the redemption of Africa and the emancipation of the race everywhere. He strongly believed that if Africa were to be redeemed, the race would need individuals with certain attributes, men of vision and ability, men of character, and above all, men of honesty. Garvey exemplified nation building through the formation of a number of black organizations, including the UNIA and PPP, educational institutions like the School of African Philosophy, commercial institutions like the Black Star Line Steamship Company, the Negro Factories Corporation, and the Negro World, social institutions like the Black Cross Nurses and the African Orthodox Church, and perhaps one of the greatest colonization movements ever, the Back to Africa movement. Garvey had two main projects, which were to help create black governments, presidents, armies, etc., and to create a black superpower in Africa. So far, one can clearly see where Garvey's movement mobilized many black leaders to take control of their societies, as is obvious with scenarios like that of Nkrumah and Mandela. In that sense, much of the first undertaking has been achieved. Unfortunately, one cannot see where a black superpower exists in Africa at this point. It is the hope that soon Garvey's followers will rise up so they can move towards this goal. This is probably the greatest legacy Garvey left for all his followers to build on. Indeed, why should we wait on chance to make a difference in our lives when chance has never yet satisfied the hope of a suffering people? As a people, we need to build black power. We need to teach our brothers and sisters that every time we refuse to accept the white man's defining our boundaries, black power reigns. Members of our race must demand that we participate in the decisions and that of our children. If that means marching and chanting black power in the streets so that the daily attacks on our men will stop, we should. If it means meeting with others who share our ideals, the ideals of Garvey, so that we can form institutions to eliminate the poverty of blacks the world round, we should. Before we can begin to claim the power, though, we must understand that we must educate ourselves so that we can fully appreciate the writings of great men like Garvey and build on the foundation they have set. We need to remember that if we do liberate our minds, we can liberate bodies, thus liberating ourselves from oppression. Garvey never liked poverty. He always said it was a crime. So black power in this sense is using any skills learned in university to aid in the formation of organizations, financially and otherwise, others of my race scattered around the globe. We need to continue where Black Moses, Marcus Garvey left off, leading our people out of the wilderness. We have to remember, above all, to love ourselves, because black love is the genesis of black power. And as a friend Adisa once said, black power is the answer to every challenge we face when it is operationalized and we are courageous enough to confront the questions. So as the crowd continues to chant black power, one man takes out his portable radio and asks for all to listen. In listening, they hear the sound of Bob Marley as he steadfastly urges, "Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." And it is then that these people remember the actual which these lines were taken, a speech given by Molimu Marcus Garvey in Nova Scotia during October 1937 that continues to inspire them. They think of his exact words: "We are going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, because whilst others might free the body, none but ourselves can free the mind. Mind is your only ruler. The man who is not able to develop and use his mind is bound to be the slave of the other man who uses his mind." And then they say among themselves, "Indeed, if he believed in it, we too can continue to believe in the black man's ability to free himself. We too can believe in black power." And they resume, "Black power, black power, black power, black power."
So you know, so them could have take that paper and put it at the school them in Jamaica. Yeah, for the young people them. I would have suggest that. I don't know how far them suggestion that can go, but the Minister of Education could have really looked into that paper where the sister present and include it in the teachings of Marcus Garvey. She did some really serious research there. This is the cutting edge on RFM. As we tell you, when we go to Houston the other day, and we meet some nice people. They have a sister, there's a in poetry on the program. Rachel Gemini. We want to yell her up. Anyway, she there right now. Must be in Houston.
And they cop. Head down, slouched, not standing tall. And then I heard in surround sound, head up queen, your crown's about to fall as autumn approaches. Your limbs need to learn to let things go. That's when things get cold. But don't worry, in the next season, you'll see growth, cause everything is everything. After winter must come spring. I wrote these words for every woman who struggles to get loose. 1. Identify your chains, be the man, money, drugs, or lack of knowledge. 2. You got a few locks that you need to acknowledge, like leaving. Woman, why do you subject yourself to a punching bag? Valentine colors are not black and blue. Hearts don't have that ended because he punched them in that way. That man is not your God. So why do you feel the need to bleed like Jesus for your children's transgressions and inexcusable anger? We already bleed once a month voluntarily to give life. Don't let him take yours. Those kids need you like Gotham needs a hero. So be more like Jesus, their savior, keeping you and them from harm. Leaving is a key. Add it to your crown. Next. You. Yeah, you. You claim you learn fast. You're on your job and you just want them to give you a chance, but you haven't even given yourself a chance to go register for a class. And now you mad because you 30 and you didn't let time pass. But if I still see sand flowing like a fountain in that hourglass without procrastination and excuses, or now your new excuses. Because you see, Gemini is only human. Don't think I haven't been through the same predicaments in me. I'm about to graduate this year, so it's evidence that knowledge is a key. Add it to your crown. Next. Stop dropping your kids off continuously to go drop it like it's hot. You had that baby, not your mother. Responsibility is a key. Add it to your crown. Next. I don't know what they want from me. It's like the more money we come across, more problems we see. Money can make legs split, make cheeks clap, make it precipitate presidents. Why? Because we women have set this precedence. But I wish you knew that you can own more than just the spare ones in his pocket. You got vital volumes leaping from your voice box. You got persuasion leaking from your eye sockets. If you knew what you could do, you would let grants, enroll in classes that give you a new definition of assets, graduate, cover that G-string with suit and pants instead of a baby, birth an idea, let it marinate in your brain's womb, and in 9 months pitch it and have them same men throwing money at you in the boardroom. I'm talking value, I'm talking worth, I'm talking standards. These are not just sounds, these are not just nouns. I'm trying to give you keys to add to your crown, because just because you're a female does not mean you're a woman. I said, just because you are female doesn't make you a woman. It only means that you have the divine right to be what God intended you to be. Woman. A little bit more than men. Wait, I'm just trying to say we do a little bit more than men. Have you ever thought about why there was a W and an O? A W and an O. We have she and he, girl and boy, female and male. I guess without one, there would be no life. Without one, there would be no life. So female, accept your divine right as woman. Place upon your head a crown and never let me catch you with your head.
Hey, listen to Earl China Smith on guitar. This is the cutting edge. Yes, EL.
One time?
Yes. You're listening to your radio.
No, darling. Listen.
Oh, Mr. Mad, how you do?
What a feast.
Good morning.
What a feast.
Okay.
What a feast. And from the youth.
Yes.
From the youth. You know, the education department should put all of that into pamphlet form.
That's what I just saying. That's what I was just saying. That they
yes,
should do that.
Put it in pamphlet form, because this is the easiest and best teaching. You know, it's really, really wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. What a feast. My 94th birthday, I celebrate my birthday all month.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you, darling.
Happy
thank
birthday.
you. Listen, this is just wonderful.
Yes.
I celebrate my birthday all month, and this has been part of it. And God bless you, young man. Yeah. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Yes, that was Mother Simad, 94-year-old, tuning into the cutting edge at 1 o'clock in the morning. So you must know, so we're doing something right. Yes, we're doing something right. You understand? We love that. Yes, cutting edge.
Yes, morning, Muta.
We're doing something right when Mandingo call. We're at the same time every week. We're doing something right.
So, do you remember the title or the theme of the poem that was published in Marcus Garvey Jr. ANU Black Man magazine?
The poem, remember they put in there?
Yes, because, you know, in those times, because of the revolutionary situation, our names weren't used for what we put in there, or we used other names. So, in several poems, so if you remember the title of the poem or the theme of it?
No, I don't remember the poem. I don't remember the poem, you know. But if you tell me some of them, I will, if you call out the first two lines of one of them, I will know. I will tell you if I made it.
All right, but what I'll do, I'll go through them, and next week then I'm going to call out the lines of some of them.
Yeah, email me, yeah.
And we trigger.
Yeah, man, I'll love to find out. I'll love to find out that, believe you me.
No, me no. And copy, your copy, definitely.
Yeah, man,
so next week I'm going to do that and thing. And I just want to say, happy birthday, Earth Strong, to my physics teacher, our teacher there at Kingston Technical, Marcus Garvey Jr., whose birthday will be this coming Saturday, the 17th of September, you know. And I hear that tape that you were playing some clips about pollution.
Yeah, the Chinese pollution, yeah.
Yeah, because the thing that some people don't realize is that pollution, using coal and other things and so. In London here, for example, a lot of people die because of breathing problems, because of pollution.
Yeah, of course. Yes,
it messes with your respiratory system, yeah. And a lot of people die. And I remember Marcus Garvey Jr. saying in a speech, in more than one speech, that the best form of energy that we should be using would be like sun, which we have, you know, abundant supplies of that in the Caribbean and in Africa. And in Africa, the wind in the Sahara Desert region, yeah. Because as he said, sun, getting energy from the sun and getting energy from the wind are clean forms of energy.
Yes, and you can get energy from water too.
And from water too. Yeah, and these are clean forms of energy.
Of course, instead of coal, yeah, man.
Because the nuclear and the coal and other things, the effect it has on the health of people. And you said something which is so right. The earth is not going to be destroyed. The pollution kills people, not the earth.
Yeah, not the earth.
Yes, the earth will be here. Mother Earth will be here. You know.
Anytime I hear people talk that it's evil environment destroying the planet. Oh, man, I will destroy the planet. Man can't destroy the planet.
Exactly, it's ridiculous. It's not destroying the planet. I mean, who really get destroyed are people that are other living organisms that live on the planet, you know. Yeah. So they should use the word correctly. But in tribute to Marcus Garvey Jr., my physics teacher, I must quote the definition that he gave for light, in the 1960s when he was teaching myself and others at Kingston Technical there by 82 Hanover Street, where he said light is an electromagnetic form of radiation emitted by the sun or any other hot source, which stimulates the senses and causes the sensation of vision. Classic definition by Marcus Garvey Jr. I mean, this is a man at about 5 or 6 degrees, about 2 or 3, 2 masters in physics, LLD in law, degree in economics, etc. You know, I wish him all the best, and his wife, Mrs. G. Garvey, who was also a former student
in a Kingston
Technical, but before our time. She's from Rollington Town.
She never used to go to Kingston Technical when we are going there?
No, you're talking the second wife. You're talking our sister-in, that wife was the second wife, the one who went to Kingston Technical with us. She used to live by the Harborview way, if my memory serves me right. Who was a son for him, you know, by the name of Seko.
She may talk. She used to go to school when we used to go there.
Yes, but his third wife is also a Kingston Technical woman too, Dean.
Okay, love.
Oh Lord, well you know the technical special.
Yeah. And you know who they love Kingston Technical? You know who they love Kingston Technical student them to? Irons.
Oh Lord, don't worry, mention Keith Irons, the maths teacher.
Irons maths teacher, man. It's not easy, you know. It's not easy to
man, I remember there was a case when he was very interested. In fact, eventually, other thing, you know, have to be careful how we talk and think with a student who you and I know well, one of the beauty queens at Kingston Technical, who was girlfriend with Byron Perkis and Irons, the
him did after my lady to that school, you know. And him did after my woman in that school.
Yes,
I get a joke, you know. Him knows so we are going to marry to him for weekend, you know. Because you know, marry to him Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to marry to him. The man used to pack me up with maths homework, you know, Rasta. And that man, they make me well while I left school, you know. That man, they alone make me well while I left school, you know. Yes. Because after me that school, and him realize, you know, this little lady, you know, me and her really tight. The man packed me up a maths homework. I said, when me come back Monday, me not do no homework, you know, pure detention me get, you know.
Yeah, man. Pressure you.
Yeah, man. The man
pressure you. Yeah, man. Keith, I as the maths teacher. And of course, remember the chemistry teacher, Mrs. Frankson, and the English teacher, Mrs. Spear. But may I tell you, man, Keith, I was something. And he used to wear these tight trousers.
And white socks.
And white socks. You know, him cock up him foot on the chair, you know.
Yeah.
I won't have nothing more. Some tight part.
You remember him straight up, man.
And you see, from the moment him knows the girls them like you.
Yeah.
Him doesn't know really what a male student is.
Take said for me.
It's your competition.
Brethren, the man take said for me because my girlfriend was like queen of the queens.
Yeah, no, man. You know her, man. She was one of the pretty ones, them too. And him never like my popularity with the girls, them from Kingston Technical either too. And I never used to pay for much private lessons with him. And, you know, I'm do well as you know. You know, I get scholarship.
Yeah. That's your thing.
Yeah, most of part of paying him no private lessons and thing. We study from and come through and get scholarship from Kingston Technical. But
I'm a good maths teacher though.
But he was a good maths teacher.
Yeah, man, I'm a good maths teacher, man. May I tell you, man.
Brilliant maths teacher. Brilliant maths teacher.
Any other maths teacher like that, man. That man did no maths.
Yes. Yeah, man. And of course, Marcus Jr. was teaching me physics, but He never taught me maths, but he used to teach maths also, and he taught maths at Kingston College before he came to Kingston Technical. Marcus Jr. And what I think Prince Buster, our 78-year-old, legend who was born May 1938, same year like Alton Ellis, Have you heard from Sultan Ali, his son, in Los Angeles?
No, well, I just come up and last week I hear from his sister. His sister called me from the hospital from Florida there.
Yes, South Florida.
After that I come off for the year because she called me after 5. I don't hear from the son. And ironically, the week before we had talked to Lester Sterling.
Yes, the soul remaining scab musician.
Yeah, and then I talk about how them bring a scab on you, so. Them have a...
Same thing, Muta, you take the words out of my mouth, a vex, and them describe Scatterlights as being from the USA. And the
but appear white people in there.
Involved none at all. Yes,
but appear white people, most of them are white people in there.
Yeah.
So Lester Sterling was very upset that him need to put a stop to them calling the band the Scatterlights when none of the original Scatterlights not in the band. So I did suggest to them, say, why them don't go talk to them farmer manager, PJ Patterson, who is also a lawyer. Because him did have inside information and all them about the Scatterlights. Him used to them out them. So I think maybe it would be a good thing for them get some representation from PG as a lawyer.
Yes, in terms of that, and from other people in general, because we as Jamaicans who know the Scatterlights as a Jamaican super band. I mean, we know that, Formed at the instigation of Clement Seymour Dad, because he used to play as session musicians, and him suggested that since them play for him so regular, he said they could do well as a band playing otherwise, live thing and so on. And I agree with you. This thing, we must not allow this kind of injustice, this kind of insult to take place. Where our people been here with us in this dimension are disregarded.
I see them advertise it up, and when I look on the makeup of the band, I say, but how can somebody call that band the Scatterlights? The band where...
it's an insult.
Total insult, Bridget. Total insult.
Yes, it's a total and big insult, And I got a statement from the acting High Commissioner here in London, Angela Rose Howell, about... She sent me the statement from the Minister of National Security, Robert Montague, where he's saying that this memorandum of understanding was in April 2007 with Peter Phillips, where Peter Phillips had that both with the Britain, with the UK, And but what is that some of the people who were deported, their cases were still pending, and this is really, really wrong, we must not let them get away with this type of thing. We must not let them get away with this type of thing. We must keep on where this is concerned, because they hope that we as people will just, 9-day storm and then
blow away.
Thing, yes, definitely, Anyway. So I'm definitely gonna look up
the poem.
And next week I phone the poems. Yes, that's very, very key. And I'll also send copy of the 2 articles that I wrote. Who is an African identity, and also the one about African unity that I did myself and thing,
Yeah, man,
definitely.
Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the cutting edge. Yes. Yeah.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. Who's this?
This is Rachel. Okay. I'm calling. Well, I have a few things, right? First, the program on Marcus Garvey was excellent. I mean, when I could get my grandmother, who is going to be 90 this year, to change the station from RJR and listen to Area FM, it was a big deal.
Give thanks to that.
Yeah, so it was really a good production, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm waiting to see, because I teach, and I teach GSAT, and of course, you know, I have to know about our national heroes, and I just think like enough is not known about Marcus, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody knows so he did the UNIA and he had the Black Star Line, but I think he did so much more.
Yeah, and this little girl here, Crystal Dennis, she put
that piece was magnificent.
Yes, definitely.
It was magnificent. But also, Muta, like what you're doing is phenomenal. You're in the program one night, and David Mohammed was coming to launch his book, Black Studies.
Yes.
I said, I have to go, and because I want the book, and I go with my $3,000, and I reach, and the place was kind of scanty. Never started on time. I guess they were waiting for people, and then it started, and so I went to inquire how much the book cost. The book was $4,000. There's only $3,000 I have. Wait, and you know, he spoke and everything, and I said, well, boy, you know, I really have to get the book. And at the end of it, he's like, well, the book is 50% off. So I was like, perfect. So I bought the book.
Magic.
And you know, I think every black house should have that book.
Books, yeah.
You know, Black Studies. I mean, I haven't reached very far, because I mean, after I read the first chapter,
you have to soak it in.
Yeah, it was just like so deep.
It's like a study book.
Like you're just reading to carry on, you know. I mean, there was just so much literature, you know, that's just not exposed. I mean, if you don't know, you just don't know. You made I forget what you said earlier. You said information is
inspiration.
You know, and Marcus spoke about that too. He said you should read every day.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
If you're waiting on a bus, man, get something and read it, man.
Yeah, man, read. I mean, we just have to, you know, just become enlightened as a people.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
You know, and what you're doing is great.
Give thanks,
you know, I mean, I know a lot of young people listen to your program, and you know,
it's mostly young people listen to that program,
you know, and it's inspirational.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you just want to change. You know, you know, so like when I'm teaching, you know, I tell them a little bit more than what they probably need to know. You know, maybe it will, you know, inspire them to go and dig deeper.
You know, I'm going to talk to Cabo. Something just come up in my mind, and I said it a while ago, and I'm going to talk to Cabo to say if there's a possibility of publishing the little sister work here, where we just play a while ago, Crystal Dennis' work, and kind of distribute it in some of the school level, free. Yeah, make them distribute it, because I think it's a very important paper, you know.
Yes, definitely.
And it's easy, because it's a young little daughter do it, you know.
Yeah.
It's easy, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's important, you know, that we know our roots, where we're coming from, you know, and I just don't think people are very, like, interested.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it doesn't really matter. You know, once I was digging up the family tree, and my dad basically was like, well, what's it to you? I said, it's everything to me. You know, I want to know who I am, where I came from, you know? And it's so easy to trace your other roots, but your African roots are kind of like lost if you don't have your grandparents around, and they can only tell you so much and no more. Because everything was kind of hidden from them.
Now information is out there in the cyberspace. You can just know everything, you know, believe you me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. But Muta, you're doing a fabulous job, and you know, just keep it up, and I will continue to listen.
Of course, give thanks.
You know, it's a real, you know, enlightenment. You know, and you know, it's good.
You was listening to the pieces we play about China and the pollution and
yes, I tuned in a little late, but I heard it.
Yeah, well,
you know, it's a. And I guess that's what they're planning to do with us.
We're going to continue tomorrow. I mean, we're going to spend more time on that tomorrow.
Right. Definitely. But also, I'd like to say something, because my grandma lives in St. Thomas. You know, I'm fortunate to have both of my grandmothers still alive. And, you know, St. Thomas is a place where, it's one way in, one way out. And now they're talking about this highway, which is utter rubbish. I mean, what St. Thomas needs is just a proper road. Like, build the people a proper road. Because now you're going to go put a highway to pay toll. You're going past the Honeyman. You're going past the Naisberry man. Like, and how those people going to survive?
Like how they pass the man them out, pass the people them out field spin.
Right.
Yeah.
I
think them should have put some things on the highway. Well, I don't know if enough people have passed on the highway and now still pay.
Because the highway is expensive.
Yeah.
How much people can afford to travel the highway?
Enough money.
But also there's another concern of mine, Muta, that I don't know about anybody else, but when I geography was my favorite subject. They said wherever water once was, the water will return.
Yeah.
The water can return in days, months, years, decades, centuries.
Yeah, of course.
And it's very troubling when you see people living in the riverbed.
Yeah.
I just think it is crazy. Maybe they don't have anywhere to go, but staying there is unsafe. Look at the little water that we had the other day and what happened down on Marcus Garvey.
I tell you.
And
look what happened down on Montego Bay with the little water we run down on Montego Bay the other day.
I mean, we can't really. I think people have almost like a disrespect for water.
Yeah. Water more terrible than fire, because water find its place, And water hold fire too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I want us to be a little bit more responsible. Because, if you're living in the riverbed and wash you out, how is it government's responsibility to provide for you?
Well, you see, the thing with me now is that the government should not allow those things to happen.
Well, that is true.
Because them supposed to say the people, them so ignorant that them want some place to live and them now have no land, so them build the place anyway. The government should stop it before it fester. That is what I see. Them should stop it before it fester. Just like all the people them are selling at the middle of the road. Right. And them see the people them are selling at the middle of the road for years. And them keep making the people them till at the road. And then one day them come around and say, move out of the road. The people them go and rebel.
Very true.
So it's a terrible thing. Anyway, give thanks, sister.
All right, Muta. Take care.
Yes. Well, if you ever see them man you perform, you never forget them man when them perform. Lady Smith Black Mambas out. Say, Cabo, me and you have to go sit down and talk about this thing, because a couple of years, we are talk about Lady Smith to come from Marcus Garvey thing, We need to talk about it seriously, Yes. So, Lady Smith, them don't come out of Jamaica yet, We need to talk seriously for how to get this group here to Jamaica. Lady Smith Black Mambasa. Serious choir, yes. Cutting edge.
Yes.
Blessed.
Muta.
Blessed man.
Great program tonight,
A long time in a year,
Yeah. The young lady there with the Marcus Garvey thing.
Paper.
And good night to my last concerned caller there.
Yes.
Yeah, the young lady with the Marcus Garvey thing.
Yeah, man.
I think, well, first of all, she deserves the scholarship.
Yes.
And hope she do well in her studies. But for that kind of research and presentation that where she display.
Yeah.
I think I say we should have get some more like senior people. For put with her and publish a thing.
Yeah, well, when I see her now, since she's a little girl, I do it. Yeah. I feel, say, I talk to Cabo still, but see how we can get it out, they publish it. I don't know about putting it together with, because I know you have got to turn it in a big book. And if you make it into a little book and distribute it in the school, I think it's a kind of easier, than go have a book itself. A book no level that.
Well, the kind of book where me I talk about is more like a comic,
Yeah. that good too.
Well put together.
Yeah, well, this can go in a comic too. That's what she do. She read it in with a 20 minutes reading. She just do a while ago, you know. Yeah. Maybe if you find an artist who would have volunteered the vibes, you know, and read what she have and then write it. Draw what she say in a comic book. The comic book could be a great idea. Then we'd have to go find a publisher. We'd have to find a publisher and anywhere it go, we're going to work something out. Yeah. Anywhere it go, because I think it's deserving to be published.
You know, me love to talk about the crowdfunding thing. I think we could have crowdfund her into something, you know.
No, well, she don't get $1 million scholarship already. Me talk about now for extend the palette of the young people in the school.
Yeah.
And I don't think that take enough money. Not take enough money. We can't work that out. We're going to work it out. As a matter of fact, when I say we can't work it out, we're going to work it out. Right. We're going to work it out, definitely.
One day if we can beg you a song.
Which song?
Long time you not play no Astor Awake, you know, but the main thing where we did that thing right now is Out of the Drums We Come.
Which tune that?
Andrea always play that tune.
Where the tune name?
Out of the brother, I say Out of the Drum We Come.
No, you have to give me the name of the tune, Rasta. I give me the artist who do it.
Really.
It's difficult to go. I can't go look for Out of the Drum We Come.
Astor Awake.
All right, better you say that then.
Big up the man them over Bojo Bantan studio.
All right, give thanks, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice to hear from you, man. A long time I don't hear from you.
Man, we're there, see him.
Yeah. Yes. May I tell you? Yes, EL. All right, you know that. Well, you want to go play. Special request. Asta Weke out of Ethiopia. Yes, sister we live in Washington. I think Washington she live now, but Ethiopian. Asta Weke. Tesesa. Music sweet. So I say, and that's over there, you know. Yeah, you know, so we can come forward here from 2 to 5:45 with the stepping razor, the art of war. Well, I would say and he talk about him sitting for Matrix. Me not know somebody sitting for Matrix. Matrix say the same one about sitting for him. Yeah. And the first BC that ever was that night, I know. No, you look different at the night, I know. In the morning, I know.
Probably rested, you know.
Oh, the peak of your hand so long, man. I feel hide your face. No, the peak they look long. The peak they look long, Rasta. Right. So are you never know you play music on radio too?
Yeah,
man. I think you just talk.
Every time you hear me, I strictly I play.
Okay. Man, move up in life, man. So you stop travel with where your artist name again?
B and
no, when I just know you was with Anthony B. Right. And then you shift to what that your name again? Stations. Yeah. So what Stations? That long time you know you about Stations.
She about man, she still do her thing, but she have some entrepreneur thing where she now.
You sure she not turn Christian?
Not yet.
She not turn Christian yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
But and then now you stop tour. You still at tour? You look like you're at tour still. You have a whole heap of jingle there. The this and the that. You look like you're still at tour still. No, when man look like him still at tour, the chaparita look at you want to blind me with the chaparita there. May I tell you? The chaparita they have blind me and shock out. Eh? And it's something wrong in it. They look like it will hypnotize me. If it ever swing 2 times, my eyes start to turn. Anyway. We have to give thanks to the moment, give thanks to the time, give thanks to the energy, give thanks to me hungry as usual. Give thanks to Tracy who is there, so give thanks to Jody outside. Jody come in the morning, you know, so me and Jody used to work in the morning and them take care from me. And Shara used to work, but Shara gone upstairs now. Yes, me start working on the Shamara, because she they over me, so now, you know, you saw your Jody gone upstairs too. A peer woman over me, a peer woman work up there, No, you up there sometime too.
No, so you drop that woman.
No, me glad say you know there me glad say I work up there when me and I so.
No, never.
Oh, me glad. A pure woman to work on that. Believe you me. Jody, Kechima, Samantha, Shamara, Tracy, and Cabo. Oh gosh, man, 6 women they on top of me.
Sometimes I'm work with them.
Eh? But me glad say you know over there up there. You glad say you know upstairs there, you know. Believe you me, and I'm vexed if you did upstairs there, you know.
How do I know?
Hey, me glad say when name the Gavin up them in no work, you know. Yeah, when Gavin up them in no work at all, but and Tony up there too. Tony, I remember Tony.
Yeah.
Tony up there too. So yeah, man, we give thanks. Anyway, we're gonna make you take the program, you know. If you don't have your time yet, but as we are say, we are come outside, so come forward 2 to 6 or 2 to 5, 4 to 5. Here we go now.